hopefully I.
Ladies and gentlemen, let me give you a little dose of reality. Hello, everybody. Welcome to Real Talk Fins Talk. I'm your host, Steve Malloy, and joining me tonight, I've got two great guests. First off, we've got Zach, that Dolphins realtor, and then we've got Curtis from Ace Per Head. My man, Curtis.
The big head.
And I want to thank everybody for joining the show tonight. Make sure as you're coming in the house, you hit that like button. If you're new to the channel, subscribe, share it with your friends, your families, and your neighbors. And remember, we may not always agree everything Miami Dolphins, but there's one thing we can agree on. We are all Dolphins.
And we hate Chris Grier.
And we hate Chris
We all hate Chris Grier.
At least on this show, you know.
Yes, on this show.
Anyway, hey guys, I really appreciate you for joining. Zach, thank you so much. Curtis, thank you.
Of course.
Same, brother, same.
We're just gonna go ahead and get started here. First off, Zach, I'd like to know a little bit of background. How did you become a Dolphin fan and all that good stuff?
So, all right. I actually, this is very difficult. All right. So my uncle was a major Patriots fan. I witnessed nothing but Patriots play until I was probably 13 years old when I could finally get away from it. And then all of my friends were Dolphins fans. So that really kicked it off for me. But I do remember like watching Dan Marino and like the very end of his career and always feeling like we could win. And my parents weren't like big sports people. So I kind of only relied on my uncles and my cousins and stuff. And they were either Patriots or Jets fans. So, you know, I came up that way. And then when I was able to do it myself, then it became nothing but the Dolphins.
Interesting.
Patriots.
Wow. Yeah, Patriots.
Yeah.
Man. And Jets. You said Jets too, right?
Oh yeah, but we would get into fights over the Jets and Dolphins, you know. There was always there's pride still, even though I didn't watch it with my family members. I was still, you know, a Dolphins fan, just not like a super Dolphins fan until later. Yeah.
Okay. Very good.
And then it was all about the tailgate.
There you go. Well, I'm glad you turned out for the best.
Missed that nice 20-year run, of course, though, with the Patriots.
Yeah.
It's worth it, though. It's worth it.
Yep.
I wasn't there. Hey, look, I was happy for my uncle and my cousins.
There you go.
Yeah.
So Zach, the question I have for you is where can folks find you? I know I find you and see you on X all the time. Is that your primary? Was that where you live?
I'm just basically on X right now, man. You know, I might do something with YouTube, but just haven't been there. Yeah.
Great, man.
I've been running around doing this and that. I need to get some time to actually start on YouTube, but mostly X now. Yeah, that Dolphins realtor on X.
All right, that's why
Instagram too. I just don't really do anything on Instagram, but I am on Instagram.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right, good. Good to know. Good to know for sure. Yeah, because I see your content on X all the time, and some stuff I agree with, some stuff I don't. But you
How
got
could you
some
not
really good
agree with
stuff.
me?
I don't know. I'm just that way, I've got to be just the opposite of everybody else. No.
All right, fair enough.
But that's the thing on this channel, and even when I'm on X, I may not agree with folks, but I'm very respectful about it, and that's what I appreciated about you, Zach. We disagreed on a few things, a few points, but you're very respectful, and we went back and forth that way like men, and that's the way it should be, in my opinion.
It should be. Yeah, I agree with you 100%. And I appreciate that from you as well.
Oh, absolutely. Curtis, where can they find you? I know I mentioned Ace per head. What do you got cooking?
That's about it. YouTube. I try to do the Twitter X thing, but man, it's just that's a rough thing because it's just all hyperbole. It's really tough to navigate. I got involved a little bit and I just ran away from it. So I just do the YouTube. I'm trying to move on to X and like Instagram and stuff, but it's just a weird platform. There's no rationality. It's all like you have to have these catchy little phrases and stuff. So just find me on YouTube. I do my thing there. One day I'll migrate to big time like you guys.
And that's Ace per head, right?
Yeah, Ace per head, YouTube. Yeah, good job. Good job.
Don't forget to mention that. All right. Is there a specific time that you come on, Curtis, or how do you normally,
Well, the only times that I just put it out when I get it out, but Monday nights at 7:45, I have all the guys come on and we do it live. And then when it gets hot again, I do Thursday night, 7:45. But I'll probably change with the Thursday night games and stuff. But it's Monday night, right now for the live. And then I just put stuff as I should have a schedule. I should.
Okay. Well, that's good stuff to know. So everybody that's in the chat, go right on over to Ace per head and give him a subscribe. And make sure you do that. He's got some really good content on there. And I always enjoy listening to it, even though I may not comment. I'm always behind the scenes listening to Curtis.
And giving me good advice. About promoting and schedules, man.
All right. Well, thank you.
You're the best. You are.
Thank you. I appreciate that. All right, so let's get to business. Let's talk about what we're here for, and that's our Miami Dolphins. So we just went through the 2025 draft. And Chris Grier was cooking, wasn't he, guys? Well, how do you feel about the draft selections? I'll start with you first, Zach. How do you how do you feel about the whole draft selection?
Well, like, I'm forever an optimist, So I look at things and I'm like, well, it could be amazing, could be great, right? But the Kenneth Grant pick, I wanted Walter Nolan. I wanted a 3-tech. I liked what I saw from him. Kenneth Grant, he's going to be good 50% snaps. He's not going to go to 70, 80. Not at least not this year, And I understand that they grabbed Jordan Phillips and Zeke Biggers and all that, and hopefully Jordan Phillips, I think that he can develop. He excites me. But, for them to pass on Jahdae Barron, Tyler Warren, these guys that to me were blue chips for the need, it really hurts me. And even if they went to Walter Nolan, I still would have felt a little bit better, because Kenneth Grant, I think he has like the highest upside out of any defensive tackle in this draft class. I just don't think he's going to be ready right now, and he's a big risk. And then Jonas, how do you pronounce his last name? Savaiania?
I just pronounce it Savanea.
Savanea.
I think I'm terrible.
He corrected it because everybody was pronouncing it Savanea, and he was like, "No, it's Savaiania or something like that." But I haven't learned it yet.
I just got that one down. I got to change it.
Yeah. You know what? When he starts making his mark in Miami, then I'll make sure I get it down pat.
Steve went full Omar Kelly right now. It's like,
there you go.
You better do something, and then I'll remember your number. I like him, man. I think that he could be really, a stud at left guard, and he might be able to actually even kick out if we have an injury too. And that could be so monstrous for our scheme, and everything that we've been trying to do runs through that offensive line. And for us to have James Daniels and now Jonah, and I mean, hopefully our tackles are going to come along. You know, Austin Jackson doesn't give me the warm feelings, the warm fuzzies. And Patrick Paul, I feel like he can, but he didn't yet. He wasn't there last year, you know. Right. So who knows, man? But then they kill me with the Dante Trader and the Jason Marshall picks. I just don't understand it. It was like 100 picks early, you know. You could have probably gotten them undrafted. I don't understand it. So hopefully they just know more than me. So, and then Quinn Ewers. Quinn Ewers was cool.
You like that pick?
Ollie Gordon. Well, Quinn Ewers in the 7th round, that's great value. And he resembles Tua a lot. I mean, he's not, I wouldn't say he's as good as far as pocket awareness, but he's a very good anticipatory thrower. And that's what we've been missing for so long with the backup. So if you're going to back the guy up, at least, you know, have a backup that looks somewhat like him, you know. That Skylar Thompson stuff wasn't going to do anything. Or Tyler Huntley with the physicality and being able to run and scramble and everything. It didn't matter because you got to be able to have anticipation in this offense. So
yeah, for sure. And 305 Sports Now is in the house. Appreciate you, Will, for joining. Make sure everyone go and check his podcast out, 301 Sports Now. He will be our guest on Fins Talk. I forgot my show. Real Talk Fins Talk. He will be a guest on Real Talk Fins Talk next week. So make sure you come and check that out and go over there and subscribe to Will too. He's got really good content. Not only Dolphins content, but he's primarily focused on college, on the Miami Hurricanes. So if you want some good Hurricanes, you know, college content, 305 Now is the place to go. So you know, that was a question I had too. You brought up the case with Kenneth Grant about him, you know, his snap count. And I was wondering, is he going to be 100% or is he going to be 40%? He's going to be 50%. But yeah, I think you're right. I think he's going to be on a minimum snap count. And to be quite frank with you, he's only had 1 year of full-time college experience as a starter.
Yeah.
So that kind of concerns me too. So you brought up some good points there, Zach, concerning Kenneth Grant and the Dante Trader and Marshall. Yeah, I don't understand those. And Quinn Ewers, yeah, for sure, good value. Curtis, give me your take on the whole of this 2025 draft by Chris Grier, our GM.
He's something. I don't know if he's the RGM, but he's something. I agree mostly with what Zach was saying, but I do think that Grant, when Wilkins came in, he was 23 and it took him 2 years. These guys that are in the trenches, they take time. It's you come in as a kid and you're going against men, but I like Grant a ton. I do have some concerns. 22 on a bench rep bothered me, but he's not really a nose tackle. He's going to be a 3 technique. He's not a 0 or 1. I mean, he can come in sometimes, maybe on pass rush downs. He's super nimble. He's 6'4". I don't know, Zach, you know more than me. I heard he had lots of reps. He never came off the field. Supposedly has a great endurance. I don't know if I wanted no one.
But he disappears too.
Yeah, he does. He gets frustrated.
So he'll be there, but then he'll get frustrated and he just won't it's not full-fledged 100% of the time. That's the only problem that I have.
Yeah, that bothers me too. But the potential is definitely there. And if he's only a 1 year starter, I don't know. Yeah, Barron might have been a guy for us, but we were in such a lurch. It was such so when we grabbed Grant, it kind of set the dominoes to fall where Bills got screwed, and then they had to trade up for those 2 D tackles. So there was, I think, a rationale for grabbing a D tackle in that first round. We kind of were in a no man's land. It was hard to really find an exact guy you want because we needed. If you brought Barron in here, we would have been a disaster this year. We had nobody in the trenches. I don't like Chris Grier at all. And it's amazing. I think the last time I was on this, I don't like him. And he had those 2 press conferences. I like him even less now. But at least the philosophy of going to the trenches. Now, the application, you might be right. Nolan might be better. I know a bunch of people. Dirk, who's on me alive, loves Nolan. I liked Tyleik Williams, but I thought he'd go in a second. We could get him in that second round pick. So there was a real heavy move on those D tackles. And
they all came off.
Yeah, what happened? Speaking of the guy you like too, he went in like the 3rd round.
Are you talking about Will Johnson?
No, the D tackle. He went late. Remember, he was supposed to go in his second. He was a really prominent D tackle. I can't remember his name now. I forgot his name. He went. I think he went in the first of the 3rd round. Anyway, he was supposed to go in the 2nd round. I can't remember his name. I'll find his name when you start talking. So
I'm trying to think. It wasn't Darius Alexander, right?
Yeah, Darius Alexander. He's a smart guy, man.
Oh wow.
Yeah, he went in the 3rd round. So we could have grabbed a Barron and an Alexander. I don't know, why did he slip? I'm sorry to get off track, but why did he slip?
No, you're good.
Do you know?
I'm not sure why he slipped. I don't know. I mean, honestly, this draft, so last year's draft, I was almost nearly calling every single one by one. Or if not, I was like within at least 10, 15 picks, right? This was like over here, then over there, over here, over there. I mean, it was wild. So, yeah, but Darius Alexander, I guess that he might have slipped because he didn't really have a lot of tape. That was like up there, but he was old. I mean, he's definitely, I think he was like 25 years old or something, wasn't he?
Oh, I didn't know that.
Oh, really? A Trent
yeah,
I think 25.
I think so. I think he was older and, didn't really have a lot of elite tape or something. And it was just this year, something like that. But yeah, it was still surprising that he slipped for 3.
So, but anyway, my point is that we were really in a bad spot with all the holes on the offensive line, all the holes on the defensive line. So I'm not really too upset about Grant. For me, Savanea, I like him a ton. I don't like the trade up, although we offset it and we get a 3rd round pick next year. Savanea, though, for me, everything that I saw, he does struggle a little bit with power. And that was at the tackle position. He hasn't played guard since his, first season. And so if you're struggling with power at the tackle spot, when you move inside, everything is much more abrupt. It's much more sudden. You're playing guys that are shorter. They have more leverage and they have more power and they're bigger. So my only concern, I think the kid's going to be good. His true pass set grade was like 88 out of 100, which is huge for us. His feet are great. He's got the size, but everywhere I was looking, and I did see in some film, he struggled with power, but he's 21. So for me, I'm not, look, if Grant can become a 7.5 or 8, and then Savanea can be an 8 or an 8.5, I like that part of the draft. I think it's good. I still think we need to build a lot. Obviously, I didn't like getting rid of the 4th round pick. We kind of went to Trader and Marshall. I don't understand those either. Like Phillips a ton. Like his ability to play 0. I like him meshing with Sealer and Benito and then Grant. So I thought there was coherency there, which we don't usually have. I don't know if he's ever going to be anything superstar, but guy's a wrestler and he's got that low stance, like he's ready to wrestle somebody, and he's got crazy strength. So I'm excited about that. Ollie Gordon, he's a good runner if you put him on a nice inside zone team. But with what we got, if Brewer and Daniels was coming off an Achilles and Jonah can't move guys out, he's going to be almost useless aside from pass blocking. Love his pass blocking, huge asset. Wright can't pass block. Achane can't pass block. But if you look at Balaj, we had Balaj, big guy, fast, couldn't do anything here. we had Brooks, who went to the Green Bay Packers. He couldn't do anything here. It's all about the blocking with those guys. So I don't know about that. Ewers, I think both you guys nailed it. He's a 7th round pick. He's your 3rd quarterback. You can't go wrong with it. You should be picking him every year. And then Biggers, Zach Biggers, just for the name, we'll take it at 7th, see what happens. So, I see it as a B draft.
So we got Storm Duck, and now we got
Zach Biggers.
Biggers.
So I see it as a B draft, but they could balloon. If Grant becomes even like, in the area of Wilkins, even if it's a little bit below her, and then you get, a guy like Jonah, and he's able to run block along with the pass blocking, it's going to be a very good draft. But if not, if Savonaya can't dig guys out, I'm not saying this year, but next year and the year after, then it's going to not look so hot. He's got to be more than a pass blocker, which I think he can. Yeah, he's 320, 6'4", he's young. But so that's me. I say B,
Okay, that's fair. That's fair, and that's what I'm gonna come to next. Is gonna ask you guys next. So with these draft picks, let's say they do pan out. Let's say Savonaya pans out. Let's say he has a solid season, right? He's not going to be anywhere compared to Calais Campbell, I don't believe.
Yeah,
right.
No.
But let's say he has a solid season, right? Let's say Ollie Gordon, he's good with that, 3rd and short yardage and 4th and short yardage and all that stuff. And some of these other guys come in as rotational players, they're just contributors. What direction do you see Miami going in the next year or two? And how do you see them this year? If everything lines up, the stars are all lined up and all that kind of stuff with these draft picks. Zach?
So I remember talking about this last year, right? About how the 3-4 base that Weaver was bringing from the McDonald Ravens, right? How he wanted all on the line, right?
Mm-hmm.
He wanted these big bodies to run stuff, and that was their goal. And then all of a sudden, Phillips gets hurt, Chubb gets hurt, and we're hurting on edge rush. And it was almost like, Calais was just the perfect guy for that because he's such a great pass rusher too. And then we got Chop and everything. I just want to see how it looks this year with its full intent, because they showed you what they want to do. They got 3 monsters in the draft.
Yeah.
So they want to run stuff and they want to kill you off the edge. And we got a good edge room if they could just stay healthy. So, I don't know, man. I'm really scared about the secondary. I want to see them do something more, because I don't think that it's going to be a good thing to walk into the season with this, plan B secondary. And then, the offense, in 2023, we saw it work, and then it all fell apart because people started calling the motions. They started calling the McDaniel cutesiness, and our offensive line got worse, and, everything went to shit. So I don't know if we get back.
And to be fair, there was some injuries there too. So that hurt.
A lot of injuries.
Yeah. That hurt a little bit too.
Mm-hmm.
So for sure.
Well, you're right, man. There was by the end of the year, what do we have? 11 injured starters. And it was tough.
I think it was 11 or 13, something like that. But it was up there, It was up there for sure.
You can't win in Kansas City that way, for a playoff game. It's just, It was impossible.
Right. Yeah. Yeah, that's true. Curtis, what's your take? How do you see it going?
Like you and Zach are saying, look, the secondary, they've got so much, I don't want to say hopium, but they're digging into deep into the bag, kind of like they did with their offensive line, hoping that guys stick. But I do think Weaver's good enough. He's going to play cover 3. When you play cover 3, you don't need the superstar guys. You keep everything in front of you. You do a bend but don't break defense. You got a nice linebacking group with Dodson and Brooks. Yeah. And you got some guys that in there you can fill the blitz and stuff like that. You got a nice little front if Grant can step up. And so I think he's planning on trying to get the pressure, trying to do what teams do to us, get us off schedule, and then use that attack. But if not, just keep the ball in front of you, see if some of these guys step up and shine, get to the red zone. When you get to the red zone, you got the big guys to kind of keep things from, not running the football up the gut, and maybe you can get a couple of threes. Problem is, though, you don't got really any safeties. You have some money, whatever, from Detroit, and you got the kid from the Jets, but the Detroit kid's been injured 2 years in a row. And then the Jets got so there's just all these bodies. But, if you've ever played, you play in zone, you play over, you keep everything in front. You're probably going to get burnt because you're not superstar status. But it's going to come to this offense having to get time of possession because you can't let this defense sit forever. So it's going to go back to running the football. And my concern is we're going to be leaning heavy into this outside zone. And outside zone is notoriously finicky. I do like Farrell Brown. I like Westbrook, the receiver. He can block better. Yeah. I mean, there's some stuff here, but I'm not big on Jackson. I think he's terrible. I mean, we're in a 2.04 time to throw. I mean, my grandmother could block on occasion at that speed of throw, and then we run outside. So for me, he's dead weight, but he's better than what we got behind him, but he goes down every year. So, my fear is he goes down, Jones got to go outside, throws off his growth curve, and then we get Eichenstein back in. But, then you got Paul, and Paul dropped 10 pounds, and that says to me, all right.
Yeah.
There's a little incongruency because he dropped 10 pounds so he can do the outside zone better. But then you got Wright and a Gordon who are inside zone guys. You got Daniels who's coming off an Achilles. He's not really a great blocker. You look at 4 games last year and you go, oh, he's great. But he was bad in Steelers the year before and he was bad for a while. I think he's better, light years better than Jones, not digging guys out. Pass blocking, true pass set blocking, getting to the second level. And then he's, infinitely better than Eichenberg. But then you got Brewer who can't dig guys out. And so then it always comes back down to Savanea. And so I think they're going to put Daniels on the left and Savanea on the right. But then the problem is Savanea has the potential to be the best drive blocker if things work out. But then you're going to pair him next to the Brewer and Jackson. And that's a bad bookending for a guy that you think might be for me, you'd want to put your best run block, your most physical guy, which might end up being Daniels next to Paul. And then you put Farrell Brown over there and you got a pocket. You can dig guys out. But then if you flip flop it, then you're putting Paul, second year Paul next to rookies, Jonah. And that's a problem too. So there's a little bit of like, how you playing this thing, So to me, we've got to run that football. You got to get time of possession. You got to run inside. You got to get more scores in the red zones than 3 points, and you got to change the leverage of the defenses. So I don't know how it's playing out. To me, it's all going to be about Paul and Savanea. They've got to play at a pretty high level. I'm not saying great, but they got to. And Daniel's got to stay healthy, and so does Jackson. So it's going to come down to McDaniels.
But Curtis, the crazy part about this, if we just get average from them, it's better than we've seen in like forever. So
if we were 27th at inside zone in number of attempts and production, if we can get to 20, it would be phenomenal. I just don't know if that 20 is certainly guaranteed. You know what I mean? Like I'm not saying guaranteed. It's not. Yeah. It's just. I don't know how's Daniels coming back on an Achilles. How quickly is he bouncing back? Hey,
let me interrupt you real quick.
No, don't worry. Sorry, I was getting excited.
No. I just wanted to thank Armando. Armando Swam. He gave a $5 super chat, and I appreciate that. Thank you very much, Armando. Really do appreciate it, brother. Thank you. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
No. So that's it. For me, it's. I've been saying it for years. I got a little guff over the a couple of years. Offensive line is going to dictate any inside run game, the A and B gap. Can we do that? If somehow we go to the 20 spot or go even better, you could be surprised at what this team might accomplish despite all its flaws. But if it doesn't, then I think a lot of the flaws are going to be highlighted because this defense will be on the field more. And I don't know if they're going to be able to hold up. I don't know. We'll see. It's just such it's exciting because you don't know. There's so much mystery and unknown. But it is like, Who the hell knows?
Well, Curtis, you're the running back guy. I mean, I was a dumb tight end, so I'll defer this to you. But so when you're just trying to pick up short yardage and the scheme needs to go to inside, how difficult is that for these guys to block that out and change their whole game from outside to inside? Is it really that crazy? Or
well, it depends. So it's like the whole, stretch. We know what stretch is. You stretch it out and you snap and all that stuff. But inside zone's about immediate movement of the defensive line. And, there's many ways to do it, but the general framework is either you double one guy and then peel to the second level, or better, you have one guy move one guy and the other guy immediately goes to the second level. And so do we have guys like that who can one-on-one dig out a nose tackle or a 3 technique? And if not, then you get the double. But when you get 2 guys and they get on one guy, it becomes a team. And so if one guy can't handle the power, then he gets stalled, and the guy who's helping him, he has to give a little bit more, and he gets attached, and then it's difficult for him to get to the second level. So it's going to really come to those moving those DTs and nose tackles instantly. Best recipe, one-on-one movement. One guy, your center or your guard, digs one guy out, and the other guy. Or you do the double, but if you notice when you do the double, that means you got 2 guys on one, and every fraction of a second makes it infinitely more difficult to take care of that, unless those 2 guys, like remember Connor and Hunt, you should just take guys and blow them out.
Mm-hmm.
So it really comes down to that. Paul can do a really good job, and you can do all kind of combos you can have instead of the guard and the center moving the guy out. You can have the tackle and the guard if the guy's playing in enough. But then the more complex you add into it, ultimately it's going to come down to these front 5 guys, especially interior 3, digging out that A and B gap. And so if for me, Brewer gets stuck a lot. Daniels, he's pretty big. He's not a total liability, but he's not great for his size, and he's coming off the Achilles. And then again, it comes back. It's like who's on first? I keep coming back to Savanea. If Savanea comes in, and some people give me some huge weightlifting numbers of his, and if they're true, this guy comes in, he can dig a guy out on his own, everything will flow. But the problem is when you do a double and you're not moving guys, that running back's coming at the line of scrimmage and he just sees a wall. And then if he's not a good cutter and he's got bad lateral, he's got to start skipping. And every time he skips, then everything starts compacting. And that's why these straight line runners, they really don't work if you don't got a good interior 3. So
well, and that's Ollie Gordon. Ollie Gordon is more of a straight line runner.
Yeah. Yeah. And even Wright, who's really, really good, but he's a one cut. He's a one cut.
Yep.
One cut, yep.
Gordon's like a half cut. Quarter cut.
Yeah. But so
it makes sense what I was saying. Sometimes I
100%, man. Thank you.
Yeah, 100%. So basically the key is Paul, and the center and the 2 guards, of course, and then of course Paul and Jackson have to do their part. But
and Jackson won't.
I know. You're right.
Paul can.
I know. Paul could do it. Paul's got to. He's definitely got to step up this year, man.
Big time.
Yeah, he really. And I know we only saw a small sample size of him last year, but in the Houston game, he played a little bit in the Houston game, and I was at the Houston game, and he held his own. He did well. He did okay.
Front. Tough front.
That's a tough front, and he did okay.
Against Daniil Hunter, right?
Yeah, and he held his own. So, and it's all about matchups in the NFL anyway, right? But yeah, Paul's got to step up, and then we've got to depend on Daniels if he can stay healthy, if Jackson can stay healthy, and then we don't know what we got in Savanea really until he steps on the field in that first game of the season. He hasn't
played guard in what, 3 years?
In 3 years, he hasn't played guard. Yeah, he played left and right tackle last year. He played like 7
He's
games
talented.
right.
Definitely talented.
Yeah, he's versatile. He definitely is versatile and versatile. So if one of the guards goes down or one of the tackles goes down, I don't know if they're going to swing him over there, because we've got some swing tackles already on the roster. We got Larry Borum and we got Chase
swing
Hines.
and a miss.
Yeah, I know. But yeah, and I agree with what Zach says. As far as the O-line goes, we don't have to have all pros across the O-line.
No.
If these guys can just be average, and we'll be okay. Because Tua in this offense is designed to getting the ball out quick. So I have no issues with the pass blocking. It's the run is where my concern is, because the only way that we are gonna beat these teams, these good teams with good defenses next year or this year, is if we get that run game going. Okay,
Yeah.
Whether it be outside zone or inside zone, the only way we're gonna beat some of these better teams is if we get that run game going, where they're gonna have to bring those linebackers in, they're gonna have to bring those safeties up, and they're gonna have to play the run.
100%, man.
Oh, I'm sorry.
They can't beat you throwing 4 at you anymore, and we can't just have just tons of coverage. Every single play is double covered. It's just, I'm telling you, I think Tua probably had the most difficult situation in all of the NFL last year. And I know people get on him, and I'm not saying that he is the answer, but I'm just saying, man, that was a tough situation to have to play through.
No, it's not conducive. Sorry, Kenna Rankin asked a question from me.
Okay. I didn't see it. Let me go back.
You see it? It says,
okay,
do you make the blocking scheme easy enough for the O-line to just play a what? It's really that we overcomplicated. We over-engineered it because we needed to get angle blocks because we couldn't physically move guys. You want it at times to maybe be a little complicated, get some movement, but the reality is we didn't have the physicality to dominate. So it's not really about easy or complex, although we were overly complex. We had all this crazy stuff because they knew we couldn't do what they wanted us to do without all this help to get angles and put guys on move with gap blocking and stuff. So the reality is if Daniels and Paul and Jonah, they had the physicality to do things physically, to move guys, to work in a phone booth, then you'll be fine. So it's not if we have to do the overcome. Remember, when you watch an OC or DC, what they're calling tells you something about the opposition, but also about what he thinks about his team. And so McDaniel is very clear with all the movement. Like I even watched Eric Smith, who's, he's like, who did think you could get to the spot? But they had to, because there was no way one-on-one these guys would do it unless they're on the move and they're catching the guy in his side and they're getting momentum. So McDaniel was clear. He understood his offensive line sucked. So if you watch and you see this offensive blocking scheme simplified, then at least you're going to see confidence. Oh, here comes my cat. Get out of here. Get out of here. Oh, man. So if you – sorry, Lucky. We got to go. So if you see the blocking scheme simplified, then at least you'll know McDaniel has confidence. Whether they execute on that confidence, we'll see. So if you watch those blocking schemes, you'll know what he really thinks about his blockers. And so I think that's a big tell for the season. We won't know, though. We won't know until it kicks off.
Yeah. So, and you guys, that's fine.
He opened my window, which he ripped a hole in, and I got bugs flying through here. And then he strolls in like he's the, King of Siam over here. Sorry about that.
All cats matter, man. All cats matter. But so the question I have, right, is to both you and both Zach and Curtis. I'll start with you, Zach. Do you feel that we're going to see more of the same offense that we saw last year? I mean, as far as the shorter passes and that kind of stuff, or what? If
it all depends, isn't it?
Yeah.
It all depends because it's very frustrating to watch because all of a sudden we go from the best vertical attack in football to non-existent. Everything's a screen, and we just look at that. We go, damn, Tua. But it's not necessarily just Tua. It has a lot to do with the fact that the offensive line dropped even worse, from 2023 when they had injuries. They went from 2.3 to 2.1 seconds, and then they went from 2.1 to 2.03 seconds time in pocket. So they even got worse. So it's just like, you see that, and you see what they're trying to do with the secondaries, and going too high and morphing whatever coverage they want. And that's difficult to pick up for any quarterback, especially when you're sending 4 and you got freaking a whole bunch more in coverage. So, and then at the end of the day, we want to blame McDaniel, and some of it is McDaniel's fault. But what do you do from here? I mean, the only thing that you can do that I can see you can do is get a better offensive line, establish the run, grab some contested catchers. That's what they did. Get some tight ends that can block. That's what they did. I mean, all you can do is what they're doing. Now, if McDaniel comes out and completely screws the pooch, then I don't know what to say. We could sit here and say it's perfect. We got all of this X, Y, Z, and then McDaniel comes out, or Tua comes out, and honestly, I think Tua is good, but he could have a concussion tomorrow and be done for the rest of the season. So, and I'm not going to sit here and say Quinn Ewers is ready to lead this team to the future like I've seen on Twitter, because that's insane.
No.
So
I watched a 25-minute or 30-minute film breakdown by Kurt Warner of Quinn Ewers. I loved what I saw. And as you said, Zach, he does have a similar style of play as Tua. Honestly, I think he has a better his release is a lot quicker. He throws a better touch. And I saw a lot of the same scheme in the offense. Now I don't know if he left a lot of meat on the bone in the film breakdown that I saw. Now I don't know if that was because the coaches are telling him don't go to the long ball, keep it short, intermediate.
He was also injured a lot too.
And he was injured a lot. So that might have had yeah.
He played a lot different last year than he did the year before.
Oh, there
you
go.
could tell. You could tell he had less power and stuff. So
yeah, so maybe they just said, hey, look, just keep it short. If you can't go, if you go long, maybe he was afraid to throw the ball, because I know he had the oblique, right? The oblique, yeah. So that's painful, man.
Yeah.
But anyway, the film that I saw was really good. He's not real mobile, but he can move around in the pocket a little bit, and he can run if he has to. That's not his forte, but he can throw the ball at all angles because he's a baseball player. He was
pitcher,
a baseball player.
Yep.
Yeah, so he can throw that ball at all angles. I like that. He's a little impatient. I saw he doesn't let the play develop. Again, that might be because of his injury or the coaches, told him, hey,
he got heavy pressure. He started changing a little bit. He's going to have to get over that.
Yeah, he's going to have to get over that.
He got real happy feet.
Yeah. And but I agree with you, Zach. He's not ready. He's not pro ready. No, definitely not pro ready. But I like the intangibles that he has. And I think he would make a very good backup. I mean, if he becomes something more than that, man, that's great.
Who's going to complain?
Yeah, I'm not going to complain. But as far as being a backup, I think this is an ideal candidate for backup. And I think we're going to see a little quarterback battle in training camp this year with Zach Wilson and
Quinn.
And Quinn. And that's good.
Yeah, I love Zach Wilson coming out, man, but I don't know if he can ever recover.
Yeah, it's
what he's put together in the league. I don't know.
Yeah, for sure. I like him too, but I like Quinn Ewers more. That's just me.
I'm there with you.
I'm just me. Curtis, how about you? What's your take on Quinn Ewers, the quarterback?
Look, he was injured last year. He's had some injuries, and you saw he got the happy feet. The game's going to speed up. I watched the Warner thing just like you, and you could see, look, he checks down nice. There's some stuff that he does well. He doesn't let it develop as much. In the NFL, you've got to be more aggressive. You've got to, it's going to be a lot hotter. The hit's going to be a lot harder. So he's a development. He's supposed to be your third. Okay, fine. If you get a guy who's a backup with your seventh, it's a win. I mean, not like a Skylar backup. So I got cat hair all over my face. Little bum, man. He's knocking stuff over you to get somebody to get him out of here. Cats. Anyway, sorry. So, look, you take the shots. You take a shot every year. We're supposed to be a West Coast team. Bill Walsh was the one who says you always go get quarterbacks. Take quarterbacks. So we got a quarterback. I don't think he's going to be ready this year. And I think it'll be bad for his development. I think in ways, too, Skylar was beat up, man. It wasn't the system for him. He got the hell beat out of him. And so he's not throwing the ball as quick as Tua. He's got some decent stuff, but Tua's release is really, really fast. And he even abbreviates it. He'll fall on his back foot to get – but it's known you shouldn't be throwing 2.04 clean time to throw. It's ridiculous. We've got to get this thing up to, clean time to throw 220. I mean, that's still – if you're at 220, you're probably third fastest in the league, maybe second. And we're at 2.04. That's nuts. The rest of the league's 2.35.
Well,
when he had it –
2.4.
My bad, go ahead.
Go ahead.
Yellow cat came in.
I was just going to say, when he had decent time to throw in 2023 for those 7 games with Connor Williams and Hunt and Wynn, he had the 2.3 seconds time in pocket, and he was on par to set the record for passer rating in play action for all points all time and yards all time. So if you just give him a little bit, I mean, I think it could be pretty damn good, but yeah, that 2.04, 03, whatever it was, I mean, it's just impossible, dude.
77% of his throws were 2.04. A lot of that screens too, but still, that's nuts.
Yeah.
Yeah, that is nuts. That is nuts. All right, so we're getting to the last segment of the show here, and I wanted to talk a little bit about what you brought up in your podcast, Curtis. You had a little I
was going to the Super Bowl this year.
Yeah, going to the Super Bowl this year, man, for sure. Yeah, no,
it's a hot take.
It's
under the sun hot.
That's burning hot. So, Curtis, you had a very good podcast today about Tyreek Hill and Jalen Ramsey. So we're going to start with that. The latest with our favorite wide receiver, Tyreek Hill. He said he named the 5 quarterbacks as the best 5 quarterbacks, or the best 5 quarterbacks in football, in his opinion. Now, at the beginning, when he first got picked up by the Miami Dolphins, he said he even said Tua was better than Mahomes. Basically, is what he was saying.
He said it was more accurate. But
more accurate. There you go. So, look, I don't take what Tyreek – I don't believe anything Tyreek says. I take him with a grain of salt, okay?
Grain of salt, ton of salt.
Yeah, there you go. So, how do you all feel? I'll start with you, Curtis. How do you feel about this guy, your feelings about him? And then we'll go down to and talk about a little bit about the Jalen Ramsey stuff.
Yeah, I thought my podcast was okay today. I didn't really want to do it. I felt like somebody had stuck me up and made me go to the teller and say, I want to draw out $10,000 from my account. Is there anything wrong, Mr. Curtis? No, everything's fine. But I had no choice to do it. I'm so tired of the guy, and I'm tired. I understand Tua is not top 5. But that's not the point. The point the guy's a narcissist, and he's like Chris Grier. He's passive aggressive. He used Tua to be Mr. Quarterback to try to dig at Mahomes. And now when he wants to dig at Tua, he makes sure he doesn't put him in that group. He's a narcissist.
Good point.
There's nothing good about the guy. I mean, he quit. And I'm hearing stories that Tua actually doesn't like him as a person, which I'm happy about. He shouldn't.
Good.
The guy hits women. He hits kids. He's totally a rotten person. I hope that he gets better. I hope that he fixes himself. But the guy's a loser, man. And it's so bad that he's supposed to be on his best behavior to get himself a contract when he gets cut next year, and he can't even do it. He's drunk on his narcissism. He's drunk on his ego. He's going to be a problem. This is going to heat up. You're going to see more and more of it. And it was a terrible job to trade for him. It was a terrible job to get Ramsey. Both of them are narcissists, different levels. Ramsey's is manageable if you're having success. Hill is unmanageable. And then you got Chubb, who's a nice guy, but injury prone. And it goes back to Grier. This was Grier's brainstorm. This was his master plan. Chubb, Ramsey, and Hill. And we're stuck with it. We're not getting rid of Hill, and we're going to get rid of Ramsey for peanuts. And so it sucks. I'm tired of it. You know, it's every year. It's the same thing. Flores, he's got dead bodies. It's all about him. And we're still doing it. It's the same stuff. It's the same stuff. It was the same stuff before he got here. It goes to Grier being a schmuck. It grows maybe higher up. And so we just got to hope to get rid of Grier at some point, get rid of these two clowns, and try to have a team that's about football and not as the world turns. So that's my take. Can't stand the guy.
Yeah, absolutely. How about you, Zach? How do you feel about and let me ask you this, because there was a question that was presented in the chat. Somebody mentioned, who was it? Here it is. Without Cheetah, we wouldn't win a single game. Enjoy the TDs, fellas. What do you think about that, Zach?
Oh, you could use. Oh, sorry. Keep going.
Go ahead.
We could have used that ammo to build a much better team. We had 2 first-round picks on Waddle. We didn't need to spend a first, 2 seconds, and a bunch of back-end picks and $35 million. You could have had Van Ginkel and Hunt just for the capital alone, with all the rest of the draft pick filling in your spots. You would have been way better off if you hadn't traded for Hill. And you would have had more success. Just think what you could have got. Go back and look at what was – they got McDuffie. Kansas City got McDuffie for the pick that we gave them, and some back-end picks, which they didn't even use well. So –
Yeah.
Sorry, Zach.
No, it's all right.
Curtis, they got two. They got 2 cornerbacks. They got 2 cornerbacks.
Oh, they did?
One is a starter, and one of them is kind of McDuffie's a starter, and then one of them's like a rotational cornerback. And not only that, but also
top 5 corner in the league. Like that.
If I'm not mistaken, New Orleans got in that trade. New Orleans got what's his name?
Who?
The coach for
Peyton.
Peyton, yeah.
Yeah, I had a brain fart.
He was a third, I think, right?
Yeah, he was a third. So
yeah. I don't know, man.
If he'd done it right, he could have had him for a third.
Yeah.
Sorry,
Go
Zach.
ahead, Zach.
No, I was just gonna say, we've seen this offense with just Jalen Waddle when Tyreek Hill goes out, and it actually doesn't look bad. I mean, Jalen Waddle ran the damn offense that actually balled out. He had like 150 yards that game, right? It was against the Jets. And, Jets are tough to but you don't know how to analyze the Jets because, on paper, they have a really good defense. But then when you actually see it and it's in the middle of the year and they've just basically given up, you're like, is that actually a good defense? Or, so it's tough. But I do think Jalen Waddle can step right into the Tyreek Hill role, all the motions, all the stuff, the same stuff, and just do it. Just the same, just about. Well, I think Tyreek Hill is amazing, but it's not that big of a difference, in my opinion.
I don't know. I got kind of mixed emotions on that. Because a lot of times he might be, when defenses plan to play the Miami Dolphins, they don't plan for Tua, they don't plan for our running backs, they plan for Tyreek Hill. I mean, that's just my opinion. I could be wrong, but
you're not wrong. Anyway, it's just Jalen Waddle isn't even a part of the design.
True.
90% of the time. But what I'm saying is, if you did design him into that play to be the first read or whatever to fill that Tyreek Hill role, it might look different. Especially because we've added other guys like Malik Washington, Nick Westbrook, I like him. as a contested catcher, and then we're messing around with like Theo Weiss and Arnold Armstrong and all this stuff, all these other guys, right?
Right. Yeah,
So,
we got some the UDFAs.
John Smith.
John Smith.
Devon Achan.
Yeah, we got some big wide receivers in the with the UDF. We got a small one too, a smaller guy too, but we got some bigger ones. Well,
my point is with Jalen Waddle, before when he was a rookie, it was completely different because the entire design of the offense was completely different.
And a defense.
But we also didn't have near these weapons around him either. I mean, Devon Achan could probably be a wide receiver 3 on this team.
Well, he is a wide receiver 3 on this team.
Basically,
he is. He is. But you're right about Jalen Waddle. I mean, his rookie year, he had over 100 and something catches, right?
Mm-hmm. And the defense has played him high and gave him loads of cushion. Yeah. They focused on him. They wrapped everything around that guy.
Yeah, for sure. All right, guys. I'm gonna go ahead and wrap up the show, but is there any last words that you all wanted to say before we sign off? Anything, Zach, that you wanted to say?
I keep talking. Curtis, you got something?
Nah, what are you talking about? Me? I started losing it. Once I see red, I just can't stop talking. I had cats, and then talking about it, Hill made me go insane. I'll say something. You guys are great, man. I really, honestly, Steve, I really appreciated my time getting to know you. And Zach, dude, we've been, we just met on a Twitter thing, and you've been stand up, man. I tell you, it's the most valuable thing I think is the people that I've met, either through my comments or the people I've exchanged with. And you guys are 2 premium dudes. So I'm very grateful to be on here. Sorry for the ranting and the cats.
Hey, man. Thanks for that, man.
Appreciate it, Curtis. And that was something positive. I was going to say something positive, and you did. So we appreciate it, brother. Appreciate it, man. And don't worry, you can rant on this show anytime you want and as long as you want, brother. Okay? Don't worry.
German and Irish is not a good mix.
Oh, hot-blooded.
Well, I don't have the German, but I got the Irish and Italian.
Me too. Damn, this is a crazy panel right here.
It is. But hey, guys, thank you so much for coming on. I really appreciate it. We'll have to do this again sometime. Maybe sometime during the training camp or mini camp. I know we got a rookie mini camp coming up next week, I believe, if I'm not mistaken.
The 16th or something. 14th.
There'll be a lot of hyperbole about that one.
Yeah, something like that.
You see the way he made a cut? I think he's going all pro.
Yeah, I mean, it's mini camp. Come on. But anyway, guys.
Get ready to hear cut Tyreek for like the next 6 months. No, 4 months. I don't know.
Absolutely. And we're going to hear Quinn Ewers is going to be our starting franchise quarterback. I know that for a fact.
100%. Yep. Get ready for it.
Yeah, absolutely. All right, guys. Thanks again for coming on the show. Appreciate it, and I appreciate everybody that's in the chat. You guys are great. I couldn't do this show without you guys for sure. And make sure you hit that like button. And if you're new to the channel, hit that subscribe bell down there somewhere, and then share with your friends, your families, and your neighbors. And Armando, thank you again for the super chat, brother. Really appreciate that. So. Amen. Guys, have a great week, and God bless. And don't forget, Dolphins #1, baby. Dolphins #1.